Good day, everybody. How's it going out there? We at work? We are playing Kaiju Noir. This should be a one-off episode. Apparently, it's like takes 2 to 3 hours to play this game through. It's a visual novel, going to be about kaiju in a noir setting. You can always see a kaiju with a detective hat. You know what you're getting into. Um, you definitely know you're getting into the good stuff when you open the program and the computer's like, "We're not running this program unless you confirm that you want us to run this program." I think it might be. It looks like just judged on like how the thing is set up a little bit. This might be like made by like one of those like make your own games. I don't know if it's like a RPG maker or like a visual novel maker, but definitely seems to have that format in the disk drive. Um, Skip unseen text after choices, transitions, rollback, display, Windows fine, text speed is fine, music volume is fine. Um, like this might be a small game made by like a little like one person or something. The music in this intro's a little uncanny. I don't know, like very uneasy. It's making me very uneasy. Sounds like there's a zombie playing at my piano keys. But we'll see. I guess Noir does have an uneasy feel to it, but let's not judge too much. Let's start. Kaiju, noun, or Japanese, strange creature, giant monster, dinosaur. Oh yeah, this is definitely a visual novel maker. I think this is the thing that they have at the bottom of each of those kind of games. And you know the font. The interesting thing is, I think the font is shared between the two programs too, like RPG Maker and in this, because like the font looks like that. 4. Unknown creature that dwell beneath the surface of the world, feared, hated, misunderstood. New Monstropolis, a city of monsters, figuratively and literally. We giant beasts with dark hearts and darker souls trudge through the streets of this stone world. A decade since the war ended, and we, Kaiju, chose to isolate ourselves in this place below the surface instead of coexisting with humans. Their human culture pervades, however, seep through the cracks and into every element of this underground existence. A life of tainted isolation or oblivion. Sometimes you have to make the difficult choices. Every night of your life. Kari. Every night another case. Every night another horror story from the city of monsters. Kari, are you awake? That's what you're here for. Making a living on the fringe of society. Closing the book down the stories that always end badly. Detective Karabara, you have a client. Oof. Alright, hold on a second. Sorry. We're gonna bring this down a little bit. Sounds like we need to tune the piano a little bit. No harshness, just like. Anyway. You startle from your nightly indulgence of self-loathing. The office around you, the same as it was 20 minutes ago. Well, I'd hope so. Was this the life you expected when you began your career as a private investigator? Does this office make you feel like one of the charismatic PIs from the movies you watch every week? The walls crumbling stonework, adorned with badly painted posters of those same films, not squalor but close. Your assistant, Alexorus, is looking at you in the bemused way he does every time he breaks you out of your daydreaming. What does he see when he looks at you? A broken down kaiju who just wants to be left alone, the cynic. One of those silver screen hard boiled untouchables, an anti hero. Someone who just wants to make the city better, hopeful. All right, so I don't know if anyone's showed up yet, but I'll definitely let you choose which of the three characteristics we will play. Um, Definitely like interesting so far. Definitely very pulpy. Um, the interesting thing to me is that like, and this is just me being like a little. I guess I could be the cynic because I'm gonna be a little cynical here. Um, like we're like if we're going into a game like this, that is very indie, very like produced by a small, very passionate person who likes kaiju. The person likes kaiju, the person likes noir. He wants to combine these two elements. Um, I don't think you need to define what a kaiju is as your opening line. Like if somebody's downloading and buying a game called Kaiju Noir, they know what a kaiju is. Like you don't need to define it. And they also know what a noir is, so you don't have to define that either, but the game sort of did both before this choice. Um, you have a niche audience. They're here. They're ready, baby. Yes, extra pulp. So we're deciding right now which we want to be. We have the cynic, the anti-hero, the hopeful. And as I said, what I just did there was a little cynical, but we'll see. I think the cynic would work. But we'll let you all decide if there's anyone else here other than Gnovo. If it's not decided in 10 seconds, I'll go with Cynic. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're doing Cynic. Does it really matter? Perhaps. He always says that the way you see yourself changes your narrative, whatever that means. Practically part of the same brood. Cracked your eggs together, figuratively at least. You both went your own ways on that journey, but were there through all the weirdness that followed. He always had that grin on his face when he rouses you, still putting up with your nonsense after all this time. Being the sole private eye in the city of monsters isn't exactly a glamorous life. A couple of cramped rooms for an office with the cheapest furniture that could be carved from a block of granite. Alex never complains, though. What is it? Alex has worked with you since you started the agency, a few years after the gates closed between the worlds, lured by the prospect of reliable pay and lurid intrigue. Somewhat reliable pay, let's be honest if we're sitting on stone granite. In the years that followed, you failed to provide either on a regular basis, as I said. Part assistant, part taskmaster. Part taskmaster. He keeps the lights on, the tea strong, and your ego in check. Yes, I used to smash cities, but then I took an arrow to the knee. Now I'm doing it. Stop. No, that joke is dated. More dated than Noir. Most of the time. You wish you could pay him more, or on time, but the city of monsters rarely calls for services of a private investigator. And there aren't a lot of folks beating down his door to hire a disabled veteran with more brains than a professor's sandwich. What does that mean? Are we open for new cases, or are you just gonna spend all night napping? What does the sign on the door say? Right now it says, keep your suit out of my business, fucker, but I'm pretty sure I can have that cleaned off by the closing. We didn't even get a thank you for that case. Kind of makes you question why we do this job. Because it pays the rent, sometimes at least. Sounds like we're open then. Can I get a tea? We're out of tea. But you're a cynic, so you should have plenty. And the petty cash box is is empty. We do have a client, though. Fuck. You dig around in your pockets until you find some coins and hand them across the scarred desk. That's everything I got. Send in the client and fetch something to wake me up, please. Alex snatches the cash and walks back into the front room of the office. He comes back a moment later with nervous individual in tow. You wish you could say the kaiju Alex gently ushers into the cramped office fills your confidence of a lucrative job, but they don't. They shuffle into the rooms, wings held tightly against their body. A dozen tons of fur and muscle, strained nerves. They were scared. Couldn't blame them, though. Folks usually arrive at your door either terrified or furious, depending on what they needed to investigate. Which brings us to an interesting point. Like, these are kaiju, right? How big is our office? Like, and how could it hold tons of weight? Are we on the first floor? I hope so. They glanced around the room, possibly looking to escape or from some telltale indication that they are in the right place. You don't know what a private investigator's office is supposed to look like, but this probably isn't it. Please take a seat. They look around nervously at the stool as if only just noticing it and sitting down, wings held tight against their body, with a big old thump because it's tons. Thank you. There's a long pause in which you hear Alex quietly slip out the front door. You know, it often helps starting conversation if we learn each other's names. I'll start. I'm Carrie Barra. They or them, if you don't mind. This is my office. It says so on the door, usually does. You can call me Detective. I'm Mexora, Detective, Miss. She is well spoken for a kaiju. Oh, sorry. She's well spoken for a kaiju and wears enough gold to indicate a magpie-like tendency for nicer things. That's a good start, Miss Mexora. I guess I'm getting paid quite well, aren't I? Anyways, now how can I be of assistance? Another long pause before she fidgets with her rings. No doubt you'd like to discuss the matter of some delicacy. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in my office. She looks up and sees you up at you and sees the fractured ice of her eyes, cold, beautiful, and afraid. I need your help, Detective. The word every private investigator loves to hear, the phrase somehow never growing old. Everyone needs help, Miss Mexora. Asking is just the first step. Can I be of assistance? I'm not the usual first point of call for kaiju in trouble. There's a police station just down the road. She looks down again, her claws clicking at each other as she rolls her rings nervously. Someone has some information about me that they shouldn't. Things I can't have get out about my family. That's why I can't go to the police. Blackmail? She nods. And you just can't pay them off? Not without my family not asking my family for a lot of money, Detective, and they wouldn't want to know what it was for. You nod back. Common enough story, once you've heard a dozen times before. No doubt an encounter with the wrong monster she doesn't want to get out. And can you tell me why? What they have on you? Something bad enough to get in trouble with the family? With the police? She nods her head vigorously, tears welling up in her eyes. I can't tell you that, Detective. I've done things that I'm ashamed of. And the less you know, the less danger you're in. You raise an eyebrow. An unusual addendum. The less I know, the harder it is for me to move my job, Miss Mexora. But I will respect your privacy. No extra charge. You scribble on your second-hand business card and slide it across the table. This is my retainer. I charge by the day, not the case. First day in advance. There will be expenses, especially since I'm going in without a lot of information. I thought you said no extra charge. And now you're saying, oh, Well, I respect your privacy, but because I'm going in with less information, I'm going to charge you an extra fee. Make up your mind, Kari. you, yeah, you bleed. You have rings. You bleed green. She picks up the card, glances at it, and nods without hesitation. I could tell you where the message said to go and who to talk to. Is that enough to start you off? From the front of the door, you hear Alex return, his cane clicking against the stonework. Is he blind? You usually don't have to click a cane into something unless you can't see. Usually, otherwise, like you wouldn't like click it. I wouldn't use that word for like walking with it. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreading it. That's a good start. Can you show me the message? It might give me something more to go on. No. No. I'm sorry. I don't have it with me. Fine. You can leave details with my assistant out front as well as the retainer. Anything you could tell me about them. About what they want. She stands, shaking her head and reaching for her bag. The blackmail demand only included a name and a place, so that I could find them when I was ready to pay. She leans across the desk, the light glinting over her jewelry and cold blue of her eyes. I would like this to be handled quietly, Detective. It would mean a lot to me, personally, if you could just make this all go away. $100? That's ridiculous. How's the job? Oh god, what's that from? There's obviously more. There's obviously more she isn't telling you about, but you aren't being paid to pry into her reasons. I'll do my best, Miss Maxora, but I'm not a bodyguard or a hired thug. If you want someone disappeared, I'd recommend the police station down the road. Their rates are more reasonable. Oh, wow. Wow, that's quite a police station. Oh, they're calling her Max now. Okay. I'm sure you'll do just fine, Detective, and please, call me Max. You were doomed from the start. Chapter 1. Alex walks back into the room a few minutes later, mug in one hand, a slip of paper tucked behind an ear frill. Well, she's quite the character. Did she pay? He puts the cup neatly on the desk. The liquid inside is black as a lagoon at midnight and smells like molasses. Yes, it is required for reviewing. Who framed? In cash. Nice, crisp new bills, all tucked up neatly in a cash box. By the bulge of her purse, there's plenty more in there. Can I get a new chair and claim it as a business expense? Mine is falling apart. Tempting. I wouldn't mind a new hat. Somehow keep shredding them. You have horns, Kari. You aren't supposed to be wearing hats. I know, but when was the last time you saw a detective movie with a PI without a PI wearing a hat? That's a good point, but I can get my chair first. Deal. This game is pretty self-aware. Anyways, if we could get a few days out of this case, I'll not only get you a new chair, but pay you for at least the last 2 weeks. Alex shrugs and pulls the paper from his fin, placing it on the desktop. Do what you can, Kari. We're in this together. You deserve to get paid. I get my pension. Not necessarily helpless without you. I've seen how much you care about vets. Wouldn't trust a hatchling to survive on that pension. And yet, I scrape by just fine. Anyways, here's the details on the messenger and hangout. Former is unknown to me, though the police might have something. Latter is a dive off the main strip. Been there a few times. How are the drinks? Cheap, and not entirely lethal. Am I the cynic, or is Alex the cynic? You pick up a slip of paper and scan Alex's meticulous lettering. Laura Trax, The Last Gulp, Crag Lane. She really is playing this one close to the scales. I couldn't get anything out of her, not even a description. What the hell have you gotten us into? A case, which is more than we had this morning, or yesterday, or last week. Alex leans against the doorway and taps his cane uncertainly. Just don't go wasting all the money on movies and hats. You try not to laugh as you drink your tea. So what's the plan? Go scope out the place? Check with the cops? I know Cara Lazoo down at the station owes us a favor after that last time. Alright, check with Cara Lazoo down at the station or head down to the last gulp. So those are the two leads that we get. So what I'll note, while people are making a decision, and if people don't make a decision by, I'll say 27, or I'll say 28 at this point, because I could talk about what I've seen so far for 2 minutes. I'll just pick an option. So far, the music's continued to be a little like uncanny. That's why I had to turn it down a little bit because it was actually interrupting my thought process. But now that it's kind of turned down, it's in the background and I can tolerate it a little more. So that being said, this is a visual novel. So far as the writing style goes, obviously it's a little self-referential, little cheesy, which is fine. The one weird thing, which I'm getting used to, but kind of threw me off a little bit at the beginning, was there's like second person elements with like third person perspective. So it's like they're trying to insert you as the detective a little bit, but you are really not the detective. So like I don't think using second person terminology is necessarily necessary. Because like if you are making the character a self-insert character, then you should just be able to name the character yourself, right? Like I should be able to name the character as Tantroo or whatever. It's like if you have a named protagonist who has a voice, usually you wouldn't use the word you. We are going for Pulp Fiction. Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't know, like, that, I don't even know if in Pulp Fiction they do that, though, like, where they play with it's usually third person, right? And it is a visual novel, but it does have video game elements, so that can get confusing. But that's, like, one critique. It would be, like, just stay in third. You don't need a second person thing. The choices of themselves is, like, you're playing that as the detective, and you're deciding the choices, but I'm not the one with the coffee, and I'm not the one with like reviewing the things on the desk because the character's doing that. It's critique. I'm being critique, but like, yeah, it's decent so far. It's not like it's all right. So we've made a decision there. I want to do the last goal. We'll go to the bar. I'd rather not deal with the cops any more than I have to. They gave me a license to do this. Doesn't mean they like me doing it. Corrupt assholes. Can't believe they make you pay to do their job for them. Someone has to pay off for all those donuts. You mean the bribes, protection money, and selling stolen evidence aren't enough? Oh, God. How many donuts does one kaiju need? Oh, God, what is it called? Oh, that stupid thing. I'll think about it. I know what the concept I'm thinking about. The acquisition or whatever it's called. Don't ask me. I'm still on the fence about Carla Zones sometimes, but she chose her job. She has to live with it. Anyways, I'm gonna head up to the gulp and poke around till either Lorethic shows up or I get bored enough to call it a night. Either way, you get to drink bad drinks and send the bill to Miss Maxora. Win-win, right? Alex chuckles and walks away from the front room. We were just talking about how the cops were corrupt because they're like using their money for donuts. And now yes, this is Noir. the casting of the stones and whatnot. You might think differently after you try their drinks. Crag Lane feels old, even in the city of monsters, a near forgotten side street worn low from thousands of years of heavy footsteps. The last gulp is what you'd expect for an ancient dive part of this town. Rough stone brick, uneven windows, piles of rubble along the walls, the smell of industrial waste and kaiju vomit. You don't like going into the bars in the first place. Too many kaiju vying for space, too much noise, too few answers. The smell of the place alone is enough to make you turn away. As you approach the doorway, a bulging shape in the corner stands and extends an antlered head. Evening. You touch your four horns in acknowledgement. They grunt back and sound more like heavy machinery than communication. Busy night? They shrug their shoulders and push open the door with their tail, leaving behind a black trail of ink. Not much of a talker, are you? Their eyes narrow and gesture toward the door with their antlers. You get the point, and ease past into the bar. What were they holding? Anyway, the interior of the bar is as crude as the exterior, showing its age, as one of the city's oldest drink pits. Not despised, just mostly forgotten into the ages. You know, for this song, even though it... Oof. Okay, even though this song is a bit, like, also uncanny and uninteresting, for a dive bar, it actually kind of works. Like, because the song itself is making me feel a little tipsy. Yes, it is. The bar and tables are all stone slabs, probably hewn from the same quarry of bricks that make up the rest of the building. How's it going, Tony? It's easy to believe that the bar wasn't built, but dug out from the surrounding stone. The bartender watches you enter with one hand, and the television mounted on the bar with the other. So I will give praise, like, on that. Because, like, for a kaiju monster world, like, carving a bar out of, like, stone caverns, you know, is that kind of world building that I kind of poked at, wasn't really in the Office scene. West End girls. Yeah, no, they didn't go poppy. A small crowd of kaiju around various tables on one size doesn't fit anyone's stools. That's also a good joke. A couple of them look up for their drinks, but most just keep drinking like this is the last gulp after all. Trying to look like another worn out monster after a long night, you make your way to the bar. What'll it be, Slick? You look you look at the limited drink selection. Alex is right. Everything that doesn't look like it was brewed in a refinery is cheap rot gut that you could use to remove rust. I also kind of like the little subtle animations that they have. Like, that's actually pretty neat. It's at least enough to make the character feel alive and not like they're cardboard cutouts, like some visual novels will do. He's spit shining the cup. Oh boy. That's definitely a dive bar. I don't think that's sanitary. Makes you glad you don't drink the booze. Best to stick with soda. Monster Mash or Savage Stomp? You know, Monster Mash sounds like a graveyard smash. So I've never tried Savage Stomp. They made a can of it. 1,984 fluid ounces. My God. The can, the bartender... The can? Can you call it a can? It's more like a keg. The can the bartender slides across the bar is a green so vivid that it hurts the eyes. On the side is a picture of a heavily scaled foot, and you wonder if it belongs to anyone you know. to knock you out in a flash. Now I'm wishing I picked the other one, because then I could have made puns about the song. It smells fruity, but tastes like battery acid. That's how you know it's good. Oh, it's Mountain Dew. You slide a couple of coins across the bar and sit on the stool. The bartender pushes back less change than you'd expect, but you don't comment. Tips are included, sir. You a cop? You're broken from your quiet observations of the bar area, trying to figure out who could be the blackmailer just by appearance. In the movies, they would be hunched in the corner, hat over the eyes, looking shifty. But you're the only one wearing a hat, and everyone here is hunched. What? Most folks come here to drink and don't give a damn about anyone else. You're scoping out the place. If you're a cop, tell me now, so I could call you, so I know who to call if you end up in the alley out back. But if you're thinking of robbing the place, I'll tear you apart here and now. No hard feelings. That happen often. The bartender shrugs. Their one head still not moving from the screen. Not that you would hear. Kaiju here just mostly keep for themselves. So cop or not? Definitely not. You place your private investigator badge on the bar so only the bartender can see it. I'm whatever I need to be to clear up someone else's mess. The bartender looks affronted, both heads swiveling around and looking up and down with matching scowls. An iron claw? Then you really won't be popular around here. Folks don't like nosy flatpads sticking their muzzle where it doesn't belong. You don't have to worry about me. I'm only here to find someone. I'm not about to cuff or stomp any of your regulars. Just don't cause trouble in here, got it? Strania out in the front does a good job to deal with the trouble. But I hate having to replace the furniture and clean the mess off the walls when they're done, so watch yourself. No trouble here. Just doing my job as quietly as I can. No stomping intended. The bartender nods and turns back to their show. What are you watching? Don't know. It's either one of those old human monster movies or a war documentary. Acting is tolerable either way. It's the History Channel, so it could be either one, really. Who's winning? The head not watching the monitor spits into the sink. Us. So it's probably just a movie. Their tone tells you everything you need to know. After working for Alex for years, it's become easy to spot those who came back from the war. You were there. They nod ahead. Right, near the end. Lied about my brood here. Went out, barely came back. Did what I had to do to get a job here. Been working here ever since. Not the worst place to end up. They don't reply. You slowly work through your drink, getting a feel for the place. It's not as bad as you thought once you block out the smell. The name's Rax, by the way. So who are you looking for? The bartender's still watching the movie, which is now showing a giant kaiju wrecking a power plant that crumbles like cheap wood. Which it probably is. Someone named Loratharg. You know them? Again, non-committal shrug. Maybe. Most folks don't deal in names here. Not real ones, at least. You sigh and start reaching for your wallet, knowing where this is going. Anything I can do to help you remember? Depends. You any good? At what? Answering vague questions? I'm fucking great at it. Try me. Ask another. One head laughs and the other growls. Wise arse. I'd watch your muzzle around here if you don't like your teeth. I mean, you any good as a detective and you know it? You give a variation of a non-committal shrug. I've ended a few marriages and found my spare of lost pets. Need something looked into? They pierce the top of another can with a pincer and hand it to you. I got something for you. Not now, though. You got a card or something? You hand over your business card. They glance at it. Suspiciously? Sep- Septically? I've never heard of that word. Is that a word? Septically, like looking at it as if it's toxic. I'd never expected to learn a new word from this game. Oh, you're the one Alex works for. You know Alex? Long story. Don't ask. He comes in sometimes just for a drink. Skeptically. Yeah, that's what I think they meant. I don't know. I'll look it up. I think they meant. Yeah, I'm they might be Yeah, I am the skeptic, aren't I? I made up a word. It was on purpose, okay? They pocket the card in their apron and nod to a table off to the back of the bar. Laura's over there. You can't miss him. The indicated table holds a single occupant, squat, spiky, and drinking like they were prepared to go on drinking forever. One of my best and worst customers. Drinks all night, never tips, never says thanks. Some fucking gratitude wouldn't go amiss. Ever spit in his drink? Both mouths grin widely. Every fucking night. Tried to stiff me on a tab one night. Don't try to screw with a two-head. You don't forget to get spit twice as hard. It's a sign of the times. Hey, I've made typos on my posts on social media sometimes. I think I think spell correctors are getting worse, or they're like not functioning at all. Because there used to be things that would underline like, "Hey, you spelled this word wrong, dip," and like I'm so used to it now that it's like I don't catch that the auto completion or like I typoed something and it's annoying. It's like, okay, I gotta slow down again. Never been. I mean, I don't think Kaiju is worried about getting punched, particularly by me. Especially since he's like literally drinking out of an oil keg. You pick up your drink and stand up from the bar. Remind me never to piss you off. Anyways, look me up when you've got time. I'll help out. I'll help you out if I can. They nod and go back to watching the end of the movie, and you head towards the occupied table in the back. As you approach the back table, you catch the stink coming from Lorathark. Dank, musty, alcohol-ridden, the stench of a loner you're all too familiar with. The table before them is littered with empty cups. The bartender obviously not wanting to get any closer than they have to. Lorathark. They look up, peering over you over the top of their drink, eyes trying to focus in the poor lighting, and probably through the drinks. What's it to ya? Whatever you're selling, I don't want any. Just looking to have a chat. You look like you can use some company. Laura looks you up and down with a sneer before gazing back down at their drink. I want nothing except to be left alone. You pull out the stool opposite and sit down. Well, that's too bad, Laura, because I'd like to talk. Of course you fucking do. You a cop? Where I come from, some would consider that question an insult. Oh, I'm not a cop, just someone in need of a few answers. Laura snarls, finishing their drink, slamming the cup on the table, and waves to the bartender. What kind of questions, sir? The kind that have to do with Maxora. Who? Never heard of them. Never? You got smoke in your ears? I don't know 'em. Funny. She knows you. Says you were saying she owes you some money. The bartender arrives, putting down a fresh cup of something that smells exceedingly flammable. You lean back a little. Laura picks up the cup, downs half a swig of it, puts it back down. You wonder if there was a little something extra in it.
On the shorter side. Curvy wings, little horn on top.
That's her.
Calls herself Maxora now, does she? What else did she tell you?
She said that you were blackmailing her. Said she wants you to leave her alone.
Did she show you a blackmail note, or have any proof that I was doing it, or what I was supposed to be blackmailing her about?
No, she didn't, but you took the case anyway because she looked scared and had money. Lore grins filthily, broken tooth grin.
Thought so. She wanted you to come down here, make some trouble for me, so I'd leave her alone, right? Or maybe she wanted you to sort me out good and proper in the alley, all quiet like.
Something like that. They nod and slug back the rest of their drink. Exceedingly flammable as an energy drink. Yeah, I'm wondering if like toxicity and like chemicals or like the things like flammable substances is like alcohol and like radiation and stuff like that, because it looked like the thing I drink, the color of it is like irradiated, but then again so does Mountain Dew. Part predator, yeah.
Thought so. Your hair is her hired muscle.
No, private detective.
Even worse then. Listen, flatpad, and listen good. That dame ain't getting blackmailed. Whatever she's mixed up in ain't. And I ain't got the one causing her grief.
Why has she sent me after you then?
Now you're asking the right questions. When I was working with her, she was going by Cesorius.
Lore taps the empty cup with a claw. You get the hint that was a signal to the bartender.
Doesn't that seem like something you should be asking her about? She's your client, after all. Go home, detective. Or go talk to Cesorius, Maxora, whatever she's calling herself now. Just leave me to my drinking.
He looks down at the stained table top, its surface puddled with rainbow slick residue.
And a word of advice, detective. Watch yourself around her. She may look sweet, but those claws are sharp.
Getting up from the table, you nod to Rax and make your way out into the ever night. Stainra eyes you uncaringly as you emerge from the bar. You tip your hat, as much as your horns allow, and move into the street. So, Detective Karibara, your first night on the case, and you've found out what? You can't trust Maxora, you can't trust either of them. What is he holding? Oh, he's not. Okay, it's okay. He's not only holding anything. So there's a hole in his gloves that's on the back of his palm. Artist. That looks a bit compromising. I was kind of worried a bit there. I'm like, somebody think of the children. And like take my thing and go, oop, not there, not that one. Take this one. And go like, think of the children. you know, yeah, they're clasped fists. The back of his palm is exposed, but the angle of his hands made me think, like, at a quick glance, was like, oops. Anyway, it's your fault that your mind went there, detective. This is not that kind of noir. Anyway, you can't trust Maxori, you can't trust Lorax, you can't trust either of them. Strategic placements, yes. So, like, I guess I'll give you till 51 to make a decision, or I will make a decision. But basically, so far, like, the bar scene was decent. It had some world building. It definitely played with the size of the creatures. Um, Saying that the bar is, like, carved out of stone. Very interesting, like, thing. So, like, and that's the other thing. It's like all the city buildings have got to be as big as mountains. So, like, That's definitely an interesting concept of the world building. Obviously, like everything looks like, as far as the backgrounds go, look very like post like modern or something like that. So it's not like they're diving deeply into that kind of thing. But adding that touch here and there is pretty good. I can say nice things too. The grungy style of music also works well with the bar scene. All right. I'm gonna do not trust either of them. Maxora has told you little to nothing about the case despite eagerly retaining your services. Lorax hasn't told you anything except that Maxora is hiding something, obviously not wanting to give anything away. All you know is that there's more to it that's going on as simple blackmail, and you're still on the case. Good thing you're being paid by the day. You can feel your bed calling you. You best call it a night. Chapter 2. You arrive at the hotel Maxora listed as her place of residence, after filling Alex in on their previous night's encounters. So what's the plan? Just go in there and demand the truth from Miss Maxora? Tough cop style? I thought tough cop if someone was paying me to. I failed drama class. The building is old, but well maintained. Rough, clean stone brick on an air of faded majesty in a near empty area of the city. Yes, hit the likes. Also, like, if you want to give this a shot yourself, it's available on itch.io. Um, it's like a few bucks. Not bad. I think it was like 444 after conversion from Australian. It's 6 Australian. So an Australian person made it, which fits for me because I'm a kangaroo, right? At the front desk, you ask to ring up Miss Maxora's room and let her know that you've arrived. Time passes. So slowly. Tucked into the corner of the room is a drink vending machine. You drop a coin into the slot and twist the knob. That coin, shoo, boom. The machine grinds for a moment, and you drop a coin into the return slot. It's out of Savage Stomp.
It's always empty. I don't think it's ever been refilled.
I shouldn't be surprised. That's what I get for keeping my hopes up.
Were all your hopes and dreams dependent on the availability of soda?
Only the ones that resulted in me having a drink.
That says a lot about you, Detective.
Maxora is standing more confidently than you'd seen in the office. Gone is the almost theoretical fragility of the night before. There's not that much of me to know. A pleasure to see you again, Miss Maxora.
Please, Detective, I asked you to call me Max. No need for the formalities here.
As you wish, Max. You're paying after all. On that note, there are some things I'd like to discuss with you in private. Is there somewhere we can talk? She motions a couple of ancient lounge chairs in the corner.
I'm one of the only residents staying in the hotel, and the clerk at the front desk is hard of hearing, so we should be able to talk here.
As you wish. The pair of you take your seats. The surface world design of them meaning you have to find comfortable places for your tale. Been staying here long?
Long enough. It's a decent place, clean, quiet, out of the way. Sometimes you don't need anything fancy.
I'm just surprised you aren't staying with your family. Do they live in the city?
Are you investigating me now, Detective?
Let's just call it a professional courtesy. Us PIs get used to asking a lot of questions.
My family is always busy. As such, things can get a little hectic from time to time. So I come here every once in a while for peace and quiet. Any other questions you'd like to ask, Detective? Or shall we get back to business?
I'm going to go with subtle. Business, of course. I encountered Lorathok right last night. He seemed a bit unsettled, and I wonder if you know anything more about him.
Not much, Detective. I've only met him once, and that was when he gave me the blackmail demand.
The demand, of course. You wouldn't have it with you, would you? She looked suddenly taken aback.
What do you mean?
The demand. I'm assuming he gave you a note or something? Otherwise, how would you know how much and who to give it to? Sitting in silence, it's easy to see the different emotions flickering across her face. You didn't even make a fake one? Like, come on. You got more money than brains, lady. What aren't you telling me, Miss Maxora? In the distance, you hear the clerk handing out the keys to a resident, but the area around you remains in tense silence. I think it's about time you told me the truth, Maxora. Or should I call you Caesarius? She looks up, startled.
He told you that name, huh?
You nod. He told me a lot of things, including that you've not been honest with me. That the whole case is a ruse. I don't like being lied to, and I don't like not knowing what to call you.
Keep calling me Max, Detective. I don't use that other name anymore.
I guess you should tell me the truth now, shouldn't you?
It's come to the truth already, has it, Detective? No more games,
Mix Maxora. I'm not in the mood.
I really wish that damn vending machine was working. I need a drink.
We could go somewhere? She shakes her head.
Not in this part of the city, all too public. Could you grab me a water, though? There should be a jug on the counter.
You stand, walk to the desk, fill a couple of cups of the picture, nod to the clerk, and return to Maxora, putting them on the table between you.
Thank you, Detective. Now, no doubt Laura told you more than just my name, correct?
You nod again.
He told you that we've had some history between us.
That you've worked together, yes?
What else did he tell you?
What should he have told me, Max?
Well, it's true that we worked together. Laura and I were entrusted with a task of collecting a certain item, an artifact of considerable value that carried with it considerable risk.
And what item is that?
Maxora picks up a glass and sips from it. Tell me, Detective, have you heard of the Crimson Old One?
The what?
The Crimson Old One. An idol carved from a single giant ruby, dug from the cavern that surrounds New Monstropolis by the first Kaiju. It is said that the light that refracted from the ruby was enough to illuminate the world below, and that the first Kaiju war was waged over who would claim it millennia before the humans climbed down from their trees.
The humans climbed down from the trees? Man, they definitely have a weird lore.
It is also said that those who possessed the Crimson Old One would reign over our kind until the end of days.
Well, you know, I do like the color crimson. But we live in a blatantly corrupt oligarchy. I can't see the big tusks up at the city hall giving up their seats to someone lugging a shiny rock around the city.
You're right. Trying that would probably land you at the bottom of a lake wearing a stone overcoat.
So why all the excitement over a shiny pebble?
Firstly, the idol represents immense spiritual significance for many kaiju in the city. Second, it has historical value dating back hundreds of millennia. And finally, it's a giant ruby. Do you have any idea what that's worth to the right collector?
And what do you have to do with the rock?
Well, I suppose to be getting the idol into the city to sell. I was supposed to be getting the idol into the city to sell.
Into the city? You mean it's been out there on the surface?
Aren't as thick as you look, detective, are you?
You should see me solving a crossword puzzle.
The statue has been traded, stolen, sold, and killed for in the human world for thousands of years. I doubt they even know how long for or whoa. This is getting a little clunky. I doubt even they know how long. Wow. Okay, let me try to say the sentence how I think they are. So I'm going to read it how it's written. I doubt even they know how long for or where it. Oh, there's a comma missing. That's all. Sorry. I think the comma there's, or like if they put a comma after the for, it would have been easier to read because I was like trying to read two different kinds of words. Yeah. All right. My fault, not the author's fault. I doubt even they know how long for or where it originated.
So, how did you track it down?
Now that's something I don't know. The plan was Lore would track it down, I'd organize.
You know it's from Australia because that's not a Z. But do you know that I'm American because I called ZZ?
I don't know. The world is weird. Anyway, the plan was for Lore to track it down. I'd organize to get it past the gates. Another colleague would make the sale to a collector, and we'd split the loot.
So what happened?
I don't know. The idol was supposed to pass to me from my contact at the gate. Only when I got there, I heard that he'd had an accident and the idol was missing.
One of those accidents where folks just up and die?
Exactly that kind.
You pick up your cup and take a drink. Maltese Falcon MacGuffin? Oh, was that what the iron the crimson thing is the Maltese thing MacGuffin? I don't know many noir tropes, to be honest. I did play L.A. Noir, and I do know some noir tropes, but I'm not like a hyper like noir consumer. So why'd you up and run?
I had been paid an awful lot of money to get the idol into the city, most of which has gone towards bribes, storage, and my contacts in the human world, none of whom was prepared to work with a kaiju for cheap. If Lore thought I'd betray them, they would be after me. I had to make the first move.
So, what do you plan to do now? Just wait here until it all blows over?
No, detective. I plan to find out where that damn statue is and finish this deal so I can get on with my life.
So, there's no blackmail case?
No, never was.
Fine. Then my work is done on the matter. I'll let my assistant know, and he can do you up a letter of completion and an invoice for the services rendered.
I'm sorry we couldn't make this work, and I'm sorry about the lies. Is that everything, detective?
Thanks for the free money, sucker. Not quite, Max. Now you and I need to discuss another matter.
What other matter? You closed the case.
You take a sip and say word. You take another. Oh yeah, am I drinking the water? I thought I was getting the water for her. You take another sip and say words that will land you in more trouble than you can imagine. The matter of you hiring me to find that statue. She looks up, startled.
You'd work for me, considering everything?
I see it like this, Mix Maxora. Either you're lying to me again, in which case you'll keep paying up until the point we both become too bored to carry on this charade.
Or
you're telling the truth about being on the hunt for a missing cultural treasure, of unmeasurable value that could make everyone involved filthy rich, in which case I want in. Also, I haven't had an interesting case in months, and this sounds like it could be fun.
Maxora sits up with cup and claw, no doubt thinking about ways to take control of the situation. Okay, detective. What are your terms?
2 weeks retainer in advance. This is going to eat up all my time, and I have an assistant to keep fed. Consider it insurance, in case of any unforeseen accidents.
Oh, don't trust me, detective? Don't you like me?
I like you plenty, Max, but I don't trust you any more than I do most folks in this city. Maybe even less given the circumstances.
That's fair enough. You've earned the right to be mistrustful of me.
And if, I say if, the idol story is true, then I want 10% of the sale price. I don't care how you get that, whether it's from your share or split it with others, call it a finder's fee.
She looks directly in your eyes for a moment, sizing you up for haggling, but you don't waver. We have a deal, detective. I don't have the money on me right now for your retainer, but I'll have it sent to your office.
Uh-oh.
As you finish your water, the edges of the room start to spin. Oh no, she drugged me? That's not good. Your heart starts racing and Max slips in and out of focus. Fuck, she drugged the drink. In all honesty, I'm sorry about this, Kari. I didn't know I could trust you. Not with my life on the line. Find the statue and you'll get everything that's coming to you. Start with lore, detective. I'll be in touch. She leans in close. You can feel the icy breath on your ear. Follow the train to the trail of the Crimson One. The gaping maw of oblivion swallows you whole. No lollygagging. Stop! You violated the law. Not that oblivion. Chapter 3. Waking with a start, you see the weary smile of a hotel clerk as they gently start shaking you. So, question. And this is kind of just a general question that might be answered later. Why bother drugging me if you're not going to take me anywhere? You know what I mean? Like, I woke up in the hotel room and she's gone. It's like she could have just left. Like, what? It's like, ooh, like she's a rapscallion just randomly drugging the detective. Woo. Anyways, I'll see. We'll see. Short chapters, yeah, they're about a half hour apiece. Obviously, they'd be quicker if I wasn't reading them aloud. But as I said, this whole story I think is like 2.5 or 2. So it's a very short pulp sort of story, which is fine. Like I having stuff that's short and to the point and doesn't waste your time and bloat itself is fine. Having it lean, having it mean. Waking with a start, you see a weary smile of the hotel clerk as they are gently shaking you. Oh gosh. That's the clerk? Oh man.
Miss Maxora said you needed some rest, and not to wake you until she left. She didn't say you were such a heavy sleeper. You should rent a room, you know? It's rude.
You rub the blurriness out of your eyes and look around. The clock in the corner showing 3 hours passed since you arrived. I mean, to be honest, like her drugging the detective, like it puts so much risk on the table. A, what if the person found out that you were drugged? B, she had to talk to the clerk to say, hey, this person's really tired. And like now the clerk is like, if the clerk wasn't aware before that you were engaged in a conversation, they're well aware of it now, right? The whole reason that we were talking here is because we wanted to have a private conversation and that the clerk was hard of hearing. No, all right, don't be nitpicky. But anyway,
I think part of Let's Plays, honestly, is like having like live reactions and responses of the player to the game itself. So like if you're looking for just like if you I would say this, if you're ever looking to read a visual novel and not have like interruptions of thought of the reader, such as the streamer and stuff like that, I would always suggest that like if you watch a stream and like you're just like, oh, I like this kind of content, like always stop and then experience it yourself, and then experience it for yourself, and then watch somebody stream it and react to it, because the whole point of streaming something is to somewhat get the reaction of the person playing it, from their perspective. Obviously, I would also recommend to people who do stream, though, not to go off on too long of tangents, right? Because obviously it's like, let's get on with the story, right? So like, just be succinct, be more direct, and then kind of just like move forward. But yeah, it's kind of funny in that idea. It's like, oh well, now the clerk knows that she was talking with me. You rub the blurriness out of your eyes and look around. The clock in the corner shows 3 hours passed since you arrived. Where's Miss Maxora now?
She checked about an hour ago. Didn't leave a forwarding address. Never stays for long, but I'm happy. I'm always happy to see her.
They smiled and helped you stand.
She left a card. Just a moment.
They shuffle over to the desk and return, handing over a rectangular of white card with a crudely drawn picture of squat creature in red ink. Why didn't she just leave that on my person? She drugged me.
Always drawing this little fellow. I find a couple of these cards in her room whenever I clean up. A mascot or cartoon character, maybe?
Frickin' furry. I mean, something like that. You turn the card over, the words "Find it, then find me, Max" written on the back. Yeah, now so much for discretion. Now the card's like, find what? What are you trying to find for Max? What else do you know about Mix Maxora? They gave a happy shrug and shambled behind their polished stone slabs of a reception desk.
Not a lot. At this hotel, we respect our residents' privacy and make it a point not to ask personal questions, even though they make it our business by giving us random cards.
Yeah, everyone has a business card. It's old-fashioned. I mean, it's Noir, right? No one has a smartphone. Now I can only see a scene of like the Kaiju characters, like in that meme scene from the it's The Apprentice or whatever that business movie is, with like, oh, the fine lines of the business card. Oh, it's too much.
But she's clean, keeps to herself, and tips well. All I can ask for a resident.
You flick the clerk a coin. You run a really nice hotel. If Miss Maxora returns, please tell her I'll be in touch. They nodded appreciatively as you walk out into the city. Back in your office, Alex is standing behind his desk, looking furtive. Furtive? I've never heard that word either. You look upset. What happened?
If we suddenly receive a rather large sum of money through the mail slot, what would you say?
I'd ask when we got a mail slot.
Carrie.
Did such a thing happen?
I'm not saying anything without a lawyer.
You don't want a lawyer at this time of night. They give you indigestion. Was this hypothetical sum of money enough to cover 2 weeks of work? He narrows his eyes.
2.5. I gather from your expression it was from Miss Maxora.
American Psycho, yeah, that one.
What do you want me to do with it?
You laugh and lean against the door frame. Go get yourself that new chair, Alex. Our Miss Maxora turned out to be a bigger client than we expected. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong voice. Turned out to be a bigger client than we expected. Fill the tea kitty too. You mean the kettle? Tea kitty? Is tea kitty like an Australian term? Oh, I gotta look that up. Sorry, no, that's adorable if that's the case. Is it called Tea Kitty? No, I'm not getting anything that indicates that it's a normal slang. Well, kitty isn't a standard term. Common diminutive is ending in ie are possessive. Tea in Australia is so usually they call it a kappa or a billy, but I guess maybe kitty is more like localized slang. I don't know. Maybe the author accidentally gave away like where exactly they live in Australia, so maybe I should not. Maybe I shouldn't use my PI skills myself. Like I'm gonna like don't do your like diving into that kind of thing. You might reveal like exactly which province this author lives in. I'm gonna like do the what's it called rain bolt thing where it's like he lives in this corner of what's it called Marlborough or like Golden Coast or something. Maybe he lives in the Alice. And they call it Tea Kitty, like Alice in Wonderland. I don't know. Now I'm just being silly. Anyways, fill the Tea Kitty too. Oh, if there's anything left, take what I owe you and pay back. Are you sure? You didn't do anything illegal, did you? Like, foolishly illegal? Not yet, but I may have to. And I want to make sure you and I are square. Well, somebody out there might know what a tea kitty is and get it. Yeah, no, yeah, don't do that. Whatever you say, Kari, I appreciate it. What did happen at the hotel? You were gone for hours. You tell Alex the story of Laura, the Crimson One, and the tranquilizer in your drink. He nods along quietly without interrupting. How contrived. Sorry, that's a pretty fucked up situation. Not sure if I feel comfortable about taking a case from somebody who'd do that. Are you going to be okay? I'll be fine, just a little groggy. She'll be paying double for that little stunt, though. Do you think she's telling the truth? She did drug you, after all. That's the only reason she drugged you, is that to question her trustability. Which is another reason that she shouldn't have drugged you. At that time. Like, if you're going to do it, just, like, I don't know. If she isn't, she's willing to pay a lot to keep me around on the back of a lie. And if she's being honest, highly doubtful. But in some mystery novel world where she is telling the truth, we get to track down an artifact of wealth beyond imagining and make it a bucket of cash in the process. If you don't get killed while you're out there, what makes you think I'll get knocked off? Do you remember what happens to anyone who gets their paws on the treasure from those movies you're so fond of? Bang! One in the back of a dark alley somewhere. It's a damn massive ruby, Kari. Do you really think there aren't those out there already dying for it? Oh right, accidents. Got any advice to avoid ending up like that? Aside from don't get killed, keep your eyes open and your snoot out of the wrong places. Keen insight as ever. Well, I'll go have a nap in my office. Still feeling a bit woozy. You look it. That must have been one hell of a drink. Then what? Then I have to go chat to Lotharek again. He might have a thread I can pull. How hard do you intend to pull? Hard enough that he answers my damned questions. Wake me up in an hour. When you get back to the last gulp, Rax. There's a period missing, sorry. When you get back to the last gulp, or a comma, one or the other, Rax is the only one there, sitting at the bar. Yeah, comma, not a period. Sitting at the bar, a can in each hand, watching the Kaiju Wrestling League on the television. Didn't I tell you not to trust anybody, Dr. Jones? You take a seat beside him and grab a handful of bar snacks. One head looks up at you briefly and returns to the screen.
You know what I love about the Kaiju League? No drama like in the human fights.
Turning to watch the screen, you see two powerfully built monsters tearing each other claw, tooth, and tail. Yeah, who cares about the feelings of the monsters? I just want to see them fight, damn it. To be fair to the humans, they don't heal like most of us do. They're too squishy and soft. They have to make more of a show out of it. Rax laughs into one of the beers. That's true, too.
True enough. They don't taste too bad either.
Wouldn't know. I've never been outside the city. I like it down here. What are they like, the humans?
Crunchy.
He looks down in quiet for thought for a moment.
As bad as us, really. There's just more of them, and they don't know when to quit. If you really want to meet one, go down to the political district. There's a few at the embassy.
No thanks. I'd be too worried I'd step on them. I'll stick to seeing them in films. He laughs and drinks out of both cans at once. Oh, he's off duty.
They squish pretty good too. They never show that in the movies. Heck of a mess to clean up after, though.
On the screen, one of the wrestlers roars in victory, while what's left of their opponent is dragged from the pit. That was brutal.
Tame as far as this stuff goes. No one dies in the KWL. Union rules. Maimed is fine, but yeah, come out breathing.
Oh yeah, Rampage. Yeah, that probably is true.
Brood Mom told me in the old days if you went into the pit, you came out a winner in bits. She was one of the winners.
Good old unions. Can't imagine how screwed this city would be without them.
Even with the corruption, I'd rather them run things. You want a drink? Got some time before we open up.
Give me a savage stomp.
Don't want anything stronger.
No thanks. I don't drink booze. Makes me feel like shit. Also, I don't think you got much behind the bar that's less than 160 proof. Any of that gets near me and I'm likely to burn the place down.
Fair enough. Folks here like to get drunk in a hurry. Them that can metabolize alcohol anyway, can't blame them.
He reaches over the bar, grabs you a can, goes back to watching the show. Looks like a highlight reel.
You back for another round in the ring with Lar?
Yeah, have some follow-up questions for him. Maybe a swear word or two.
He'll be here soon. He may be a mound of kaiju crap, but he's punctual when he's drinking.
You drink and watch the game. You never get into the into the league fights. The city is violent enough without making a sport out of it. History with Alex or history of the gulp? I don't know about the gulp. When did you start working at the gulp? Seems like you've got a pretty good thing going.
I took over the gulp after the war. Was probably too young for out there, and in here. But I was big. No one questions when you're big. There's a lot of empty buildings, especially in the areas like this. Too many folks didn't return, so I cashed out of my contract and picked up this place for near nothing. Was another hole when I took over. Taught myself how to serve drinks. Deal with the mafia.
Is that the mafia? The Monfia. That's actually a good pun. Okay, that's a good pun.
The mafia. And kick out the troublemakers real fast.
Was it worth it?
Fuck yeah, it was. And now I pay Strainra.
Is Strainra also a pun? I don't get it yet.
I pay Stranger to take out the trouble and keep the mob away so I could focus on the drinks. I'm good at drinks. There are far worse places I could have ended up. I like to give these kaiju a little comfort. It's safe here. Safer than out there, anyway. Seems like a good place.
He actually laughs, a short rock crusher chuckle.
It's a hole in the ground, but it's mine, and I look after what's mine.
Rax sets down both empty cans and turns his head to you.
Do you mean it? When you said you were a good detective?
I don't know about good. I get the job done. And I'm not one of the new Metropolis's finest. Will that do?
It'll do. You said you're on a case. Would you have a problem taking on a second?
So long as they don't conflict, I've got some flexibility. What's the case?
I need you to find my sister.
Doesn't seem like a difficult job. Just stick up a few missing kaiju flyers. Why ask me?
Because it's not that simple, detective. Alex says you're good at the delicate stuff, if you catch my drift. And I trust him. I don't always trust cops for obvious reasons. When I lost contact with her, we were both very different kaiju.
We all change, Rax.
Detective.
Call me Carrie.
Carrie, sorry. I'm not used to talking about this stuff, and this doesn't leave this room.
He takes a deep breath. Something two heads are able to do particularly well.
When I shipped out, she was just starting her transition. She hadn't chosen her name yet.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, oh fuck. I left and didn't get to tell her I loved her before they herded us the gates to the flight.
Fuck, that's rough. Taking two more cans from behind the bar, he opens them in the teeth of one jaw.
Damn rough. So I don't have a name. Not one she'd go by now. I don't know what she looks like, and I don't know where to start.
Have you tried Moxie? Wait, hold on. Yeah, like... Yeah, I'm gonna guess the Bats. Max is his sister. Like, it's kind of obvious. I thought that they were going with a trans thing with her character, and now that I'm thinking about it, like, Lore knows her dead name, and told me her dead name, and I told her dead name, but I don't think Lore and the bartender get along enough to talk to each other. So, like, probably didn't tell her about the dead name. But so if I were in the detective shoes, I go, was your sibling's name, I can't even remember, is it Slaulius or something like that? It's a small world, after all. You both drink in silence for a few minutes. I'll take the case. This one hits a bit close to home, so I'll do it no charge.
I ain't gonna ask you to do this for nothing.
Don't sweat it. My other case is paying me more than enough to cover my time. This one's on your sister. Maybe. Allegedly. Well, how about for we take in a few more neighbors? If you want to pay, then set me up with a tab at the bar. If I find her, scrub the tab. If I don't, I'll settle it next week. He scowls at the compromise, typical kaiju stubbornness.
You think you could find her that fast? I've been looking for years.
You'd be amazed what I could do if I start poking around. So, what do you have that I can work with? I can't exactly just go around the city sticking up wanted signs for trans kaiju that were separated from their family during the war. I need Alex at the door just to hold back the queue.
Damn humans. You know, we didn't have to think about gender bullshit till they came around. We're
just monsters. Tell me about it. Of all the social construct crap we had to pick up from them, that has to be the weirdest. Capitalism was a pretty bad idea, too. Anyways, I don't have much to go on. If I did, I'd have to found her by now. But, if you find her, please give her this. He hands over a carved green stone on a strand of scale hide. She'll know what it means. Not much to go on. No name, no description, just the necklace. Now you know how I feel. More than you know, Rex. The television program finishes and you are glad you can't hear the obnoxious advertisements over the bar music. There is humor in it, yeah, it's pretty funny. It's about time folks will start lumbering in. I should get to work. He downs both cans, throws them into the bin along with your empty drink, and stomps off behind the bar. What about your family? We don't have much. Not what you'd call real family, you know how it goes. All too well. I'll have to talk with Alex and see if we can't think something up. He's the smart one. What do you do then? I ask irritating questions and look good in a hat. Rax nods and starts serving the slow trickle of customers coming up for drinks. I'd rather work than starve in the USSR. I mean, the USSR doesn't exist anymore, though. What are we supposed to fight now? Then again, the Kaiju... The interesting thing is, like, the Kaiju representing like communism might have a weird sort of thing to it. Well, actually, I'll put an asterisk on that to backspace a little bit. Monsters never said that they were communists. They just don't care for capitalism. Just because you don't care for capitalism doesn't make you a communist. That's binary thinking. But so I don't know what the monster society is technically. About 20 minutes later, Lore stomps through the door and towards his regular table. There's your boy. Please refrain from hitting him with a chair without letting me know first, so I can get a good view. Thanks. Can you give me as usual? You get a war. You get a war. War never changes. Rex pours out a cup of something smelling like industrial solvent. One head looking ready to spit, the other thinking better of it, and hands it over. Good luck, Slick. You walk over to Lore's table and place the cup in front of him. Lore, what a surprise seeing you here. Thought you'd be thirsty, so I brought you a drink.
What do you want, Flat Paw? Can't you leave me in peace?
The sooner I talk to you, Lore, the sooner I can get out of your life. How's that for a deal?
Me sitting here drinking till you go away sound like a better deal. Yeah, once again, don't need that word there.
Spite makes me patient. I could sit here all night.
Someone gonna pay you to watch me drink? That's a real shitty job.
Good thing you're not paying then, isn't it? Now drink your damn sludge.
What are you being paid for, then? I already told you I ain't blackmailing anyone. No one you know, anyway. Go talk to that dame and leave me the hell alone.
Oh, I did talk to her. Had a good long talk before she slipped me some knockout drops. You didn't need to tell him that. She just told me about how you two work together and how you're looking for a certain object. And you trust a dame.
And you trust a dame who drunk your drink? Not a bright one, are you?
What can I say? I'm into some certain things.
Anyway, Lore sniffs at the putrid liquor in their cup, downs most in one gulp, and coughs wretchedly.
You should drink slower. That crap can't be good for you.
Shut it, Flatpaw. Did she tell you where it is?
Can I unshut it long enough to tell you? She doesn't have it. Says her courier died before they could make the handover. She's hired me to find it.
Hired you with our money?
A polite monster never asks.
I bet. Well, if she's got her claws and cash on you, she must still want to find the idol. Maybe the dame didn't cheat us after all.
Can't tell you that for sure, Lore. Contrary to what you might think, I tend not to trust Kaiju who drug me.
That's a good instinct. So what's the plan, Flatpaw? How do you plan to find our property?
The same way I'm good at doing my job to annoy you by asking a lot of questions.
You're good at that, at least.
Thank you. I make sure to practice in the mirror every morning. Sometimes I ask myself questions so abrasive I even shock myself.
I would believe that. You seem the sort of kaiju that could piss off a stone wall.
So tell me, Lore, how many kaiju know about the idol, aside from you, Maxora, and I?
Why do you want to know?
I want to get paid, or you've been screwed.
I don't know if he's been screwed, so I'm just going to say I want to get paid.
Because I want to get paid. I've got a hungry assistant and a parasitic demon for a landlord. One more thing. And asking you who the hell knew about the deal might help that situation.
How'd you figure that?
Max is scared. Because if Maxora had bugged out with the idol, she wouldn't be in hiding. She's terrified, genuinely scared as far as I can read between those eyes. And you, sitting in here getting wasted on whatever the hell that is every night, isn't helping.
He looks into the dregs of the cup and swirls it around. You got me there. There's someone else involved, a backer.
I figured you were the brains behind all this. Who are they?
Can't tell you. They like their privacy. Can't blame them, considering the trouble that rock had caused.
A rock worth several fortunes.
Fortunes aren't worth a shit when you're dead. Ain't got no use to come back after we take the fall.
Still, someone has to know about the deal. Max is too personally invested to let something like this go tail up.
You put too much faith in that dame.
In this city, you gotta put faith into something. I put mine into money, which she's paying me a reasonable amount of.
And if I could get more than she's paid, a lot more.
What would I do with it? I'd already have a nice coat. If I help find the rock, I'll have enough to never have to worry about rent ever again.
That's not true. Inflation. Anyway.
If I don't find it, at least I have enough to keep myself a new hat. These things aren't cheap. Besides, I have a rule. No conflicting cases. My assistant would never let me hear the end of it.
Well, they are drinking out of kegs, yes. Like they're actually no, they aren't kegs, they're more like barrels. Then what's your plan? Start running over rocks until you find a red one?
Better than that. You get me a meeting with whoever is backing the scavenger hunt. There's too many questions and I need them answered.
I'll try. Can't promise they'll talk to you.
Tell me if they want their shiny pebble that will talk to me. The longer they wait, the harder it'll be to get that thing back.
You write down your office address in a stained napkin.
When you arrange a time, here's my address. Business hours only, please.
Lower skewers the napkin into a leg spine and finishes his drink. Thanks for the drink, detective.
Thanks for the chat, Lore. You've been charming as always. I'll see you when I see you.
On the way out, you tip your hat to Rex and head back to the office. Hopefully Alex hasn't headed home yet. You've got a lot to catch him up on. Chapter 4. Hey, Keg's the right way. A couple of weeks later. Not at their weight ratio. These are kaiju. We've established, like, there was a picture of one of the drinks earlier in like one of the earlier chapters, and it had like, it was like 1,996 fluid ounces or something like that. So these have got to be, if these are cups of coffee, man, this has got to be like an entire like farm of Arabica. Like, and could you even have enough milk and sugar to, like, even if you didn't take it black? Like, could you put in enough milk and sugar to, like, actually do anything? Or do you need, like, a whole cow? I need a whole cow, like, whole cow farm's worth of milk in here. So now we have 2 cases. What the hell were you thinking?
Find a lump of rock.
Find a lump of rock that might not even exist and track down someone without even a name or appearance to go off of. This is why I don't let you go to the bars anymore. You always come back with the worst cases.
Kind of impressive since I don't even drink, right? Don't blame me. For some reason, Kaiju keep telling me their problems, expecting me to solve them. You think I was a private detective or something.
What happened this week, Kari? Everything was so quiet. How did we end up like in a mystery novel?
Karmitic buildup. Maybe the universe just decided to start throwing rocks. At least one of the rocks is worth a great pile of cash.
Speaking of cash, why didn't you ask for payment on Rax's case? He's good for it.
You look at Alex over your tea. You and I have been in similar situations. I remember how shit things got when you came out, and I didn't fare much better. I couldn't stick a price tag on this kid getting a little happiness back after he's been through.
He looks down at his mug and it bubbles back at him. Fair. It's not like we need the money right now.
Right. We can afford a little pro bono for a barkeep in need.
The pair of you drink in silence for a while. So what the heck do we do? We haven't had any good leads on either case. Pulling the pendant from your coat, you hand it over. Alex puts down his mug and examines it closely. This the only read Rax has? You nod.
No clue what it could mean. Probably just some family thing.
Alex holds the stone close to each eye in turn. I've seen this somewhere. This pattern here. He holds up the stone and indicates a pattern of swirls that close examination look like eyes curled in on themselves.
Seriously? Can you remember where?
Pausing to look at it again, he shakes his head. No, it was only brief. Only for a moment.
Try to remember. I don't care if it was graffiti on the side of a building or something you saw in a movie. Anything will help right now.
And the other case?
We wait for a message from Lore. If I can't meet the bankroll, or we don't know all the extras in this play. I don't like being left out in the cold in the middle of the case, even if I'm bundling up in cash.
And what if he doesn't call?
Then we can go door to door asking if anyone has a giant ruby in their basement.
If you had a giant ruby in your basement, would you own up if someone came looking for it? Wait, when am I burping?
I didn't say it was a good plan, but it's better than just sitting on my tail, waiting for the idol to knock on the front door. The front door shakes under a tremendous knocking. Quick, say something about us getting $1,000,000. It's not like someone is knocking the door waiting for us to get $1,000,000. The thumping repeats louder. Alex opens the door and Detective Inspector Gerloza walks in. She doesn't look happy, nor does she carry anything resembling either a statue or a large amount of money. Oh, this is the guy I didn't talk to. Detective Inspector Carzola. Oh, Detective Inspector Carolizola. I wondered how long it'd be before you darkened my doorstep again. She flexes with the practiced scowl you've come to know and love.
I see you're still pretending to smoke those human cigarettes, Curry. You aren't fooling anyone you know.
I think it makes me look dashing. And to what do I owe the pleasure of your company?
This isn't a social call.
Is it ever?
That time in the red light district?
I was investigating for a divorce hearing. You served me with a cease and desist notice.
And wasn't that fun and social?
I had to go to the courthouse to get it lifted. That was not fun. Alex stands there in the corner grinning widely. So what's the buzz? Come to grill me for walking on the wrong side of the footpath?
Do you know someone called Lorethic?
You get a sinking feeling in the pit of your stomachs. Can you describe them?
Short, spiky reeks of industrial waste.
I might know them. Why?
Because he was found dead an hour ago. The boys just dragged him out of the lake.
Shit. And you've come to interrogate me about it because...
Because he was holding an envelope with your name on it. Some of us in the Enforce considered that sort of thing to be a little suspicious.
You cops think everything is suspicious. If you saw someone who wasn't a cop eating a donut, you start questioning about where they got it. May I see the note?
It's evidence. You're going to tell me what case you're working on?
Which one? I'm on a couple right now.
The one involving the stiff on its way to the morgue.
Professional confidentiality, I'm afraid. I saw Lore at the last gulp yesterday, and he was fine as far as I could tell. On his way to get drunk, or drunker, but very much alive.
Anyone able to collaborate on that?
Rax, down at the gulp. He and I were talking about a separate case of a missing kaiju.
Why didn't he come down to the station if it's just a missing kaiju?
It's a sensitive kind of missing kaiju case. I'd rather not draw you a picture, Detective.
The pair of you stare at each other for a long minute of silence. Carol Azoa breaks first and hands you a still damp envelope, the seal already torn.
Don't you know it's illegal to tamper with the post?
We don't have a postal system, Carrie, and this is evidence.
The paper inside the envelope is mostly dry. On it you could read a scrawled address in an art market district and a time later tonight.
Gonna tell me about that? It's cryptic even for you.
You hand the letter over to Alex.
A contract on another case, nothing special.
Nothing special? Someone had to fish out the... We just had to fish out the...
Okay, that's... Am I reading that wrong? Hold on. Let me read it. I'm going to read it plain first. Make sure I'm not making a mistake here. Nothing special. Someone we just had to fish out of the wharf. Okay, yes, that was me.
Nothing special. Someone we just had to fish out of the wharf has a letter addressed to you, clutched in their fist. And it wasn't anything special.
One of those weird coincidences. What can I tell you?
Well, if I say any suspects, they're going to say me, obviously. Any suspects?
Do you have any suspects, aside from me, of course?
Carolizoa sags slightly against the doorway. Aside from you and the only kaiju who has had recent contact with the deceased in Rex. Jesus, man, I'm really clunky reading of this stuff. Hold on. Aside from you and the only kaiju who had recent contact. Aside from you, the only kaiju who had a recent contact with the deceased is Rexleton of the last gulp. Our stiff was a loner. No known associates or contacts aside from you and Rex. Bit of a mystery, as they sound like the type who'd have come to our attention. And that's not the kind of attack you see from an unpaid bar tab. He was found in the lake with his throat slashed, still had cash on him, and no one had touched his jewelry. Fuck, what a way to go. I've seen worse. Usually murders have more of a point, though. This wasn't a mugging, it was still too sloppy to be a professional hit. Anyways, if you can't help me... She leaves the sentence hanging and glares intently at you. Then I need to get back to the office to write up my report. Unexplained kaiju side isn't exactly rare, but it still doesn't look good from the apartment.
We should go get that drink together one of these days, Carla.
I'd like that, Kari.
You know, honestly, though, like, if these two must have a history together, because, like, if I were to say, we should get a drink together, it's like, if we were complete strangers, like, it's like, you just had a drink with somebody who ended up dead, so what should I take from those words?
Maybe when we both learn to relax, to leave our work behind.
That could take a while.
Stranger things have happened.
That time we were working on that double kidnapping case that was just a cover for the mayor's children running away, for example.
Don't remind me, I still get nightmares about that mess.
They never did find all the bits. We did get the kids back safe, though.
Just don't do anything foolish, Kyrie. Alex, please stop them from getting themselves killed.
Can't promise anything. You know how they can be. Look after yourself, Detective Inspector. She walks out, slamming the door behind her in a way that is uniquely Kara. Your cup empty nearly rattles off the desk. I can't believe you two used to date. That was a long time ago, before she became a cop. I'm going to say that was my worst break. What? Wasn't? I think they meant to say wasn't. I'm not going to say that was... Oh, never mind. He put the not in front. My fault, again. Like, is Australian English all that different from American English? Where, like... Because usually it would be, it's like, yeah, like, I think, interestingly, like, Americanism is like, I'm not going to say that wasn't my worst breakup, even though that is a double negative. Like, that's how most Americans would say that sentence, but I could see why they would write the sentence that way. Which is interesting, it tripped me up. But it does kind of make sense not to make that a double negative, even though I think in America we would do that. Yeah, they got that. Yeah, this one's right. I'm wrong. It's my American brain is corrupted with the double negative. The Australian writes it correct. I'm not going to say that was my worst breakup, but it was definitely the loudest. Do you regret it? What we had? Not at all. She was my first ace relationship, and it was what I needed in my life at the time. Then she signed up to be a thug for the city, and that sort of kills the romantic mood. You're a weird monster. True, but I'm a weird monster with a lead. And a dead contact. Oh, and you're the key suspect in the murder of the contact. No doubt. Carla is polite, but she's not clueless. I'll have to keep an eye out for tales when I head out. Look, I'm not happy Lore's dead. He was an asshole, but that doesn't mean he deserved to end up in a lake.
Who do you think killed him?
Whoever doesn't want us to find that rock.
And what do we do about it?
Simple. We find the rock, and they don't find us, that they don't want us to find.
Are you planning on doing that, as if it's so simple?
By following the money, my dear Alex, we follow the money.
And not get killed in the process of finding it, I hope.
That's the idea. Keep my paws crossed and don't end up in the swim myself.
What about Rax's case, the missing sister?
What about it? We can't just go off the pendant to every kaiju in the city hoping to get a response. Either Rax gives us more to work with, or you remember where you've seen that design. Or we randomly bump into someone in the street holding up a "looking for my brother" sign.
None of that sounds hopeful. I'll make a sketch of the design. Maybe it'll help me remember. Then you can take it back.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate the help.
And I appreciate new office furniture. Speaking of which, my new chair is getting delivered tomorrow.
I can't wait to see it. I bet it'll be glorious.
Just something more appropriate for me to park my scales.
You deserve it.
He waves you away. You best get moving. The note says you need to be over on the other side of the city in an hour. Stay safe out there, Carrie. I mean it. Whoever knocked off Law means business.
I'll keep my eyes open and stay away from open bodies of water. You just make sure they keep the lights on.
Yeah, there might be kangaroos in those waters, you know. X never ever marks the spot. Roman numeral 10. Ah, there we are. I'll do my best.
You always do.
It's late evening in the Undercity, and the crystals that illuminate the city, charged by thermal radiation of the outside world, are beginning to dim. Only the central stones, locally known as Zila's balls, maintain their pale blue glow throughout the night, lengthening shadows and casting most of the city into gloom. So this world's actually entirely underground. Okay, that's interesting. And I do kind of like that they're adding the world building elements like after some of the story. Like they don't like explain everything about the kaiju world and like front load it. Like it's kind of like, I'm surprised this also didn't start a new chapter. The central hub of the city, where the most affluent kaiju build their mansions of stone, get the best of the light. Compared to the dingy district where you'd set up your office, it was almost like walking under the sun itself, or so you imagine.
Even the light we get is secondhand. Hard to imagine living somewhere that it's not always in shadow.
The note from Lore directs you to the front gate of a practically discreet house on one of the gaudiest streets you've ever seen. While other houses flaunted wealth, mimicking ostentatious human styles scaled up to kaiju sizes, this one is a simple block of stone. Still big though, upscaled living for a kaiju who keeps a tight claw on their money. Because it's like I did ask the questions about like how the kaiju world works and like how the office kind of thing works. But now that we're like 2 hours in, it kind of explains like, yeah, it's just like a big underground cave that they carved out and emulate like daylight and stuff like that, which is pretty interesting. You pull the heavy chain besides the gate. Minutes pass until a voice, croaking and uncaring, echoes out through a speaking tube. No soliciting, proselytizing, or political campaigning. Whatever it is you're selling, I don't want any. You lean in close to the tube and clear your throat.
I'm not selling anything. I was told to come here by the late Lorathonk about a matter of business.
Kind of early to be saying, like, late. Like, how do you know they're dead, right? Like, you should, like, just weird tangent here, but if you're a PI and you learn that a person died, like,
has it been published yet that they're dead? And if they aren't, then like it shouldn't be common knowledge. Like you shouldn't be calling someone late that early, especially if you're on a case. I don't know. The response takes another minute to return. Yeah, exactly.
The late Laura Thunk?
You didn't hear? There was an unfortunate incident, and regrettably Laura is no longer with us. Another long pause. Yeah, bait. Okay, yeah, Ganova. I guess it is bait. Because it did work, it seems.
You had best come in.
The gate buzzes and opens with a heavy click. You straighten your hat, put on your most deadpan expression, and head through the gate through the Stark mansion. The door is opened by an older kaiju in a smart bow tie and a grim expression.
You would be Detective Lore, the Detective Lore spoke of, correct?
Well, I'm not the police, but I still ask a lot of questions, so I must be. They narrow their eyes, clearly not impressed. Yes, I'm a detective. Carrie Barra is my full name.
And my name is Zandron, but you can call me Xander.
Is that your real name?
No, but it'll do for the time being. You're quick off the mark with your questions, Detective.
If I don't keep asking questions, I'm afraid I might explode with curiosity.
A dangerous habit in this city.
Would you rather I stop? I could probably hold off a vigorous inquiry for a few minutes.
I wouldn't dream of it. I so rarely get visitors, even impertinent ones such as yourself.
Then I shall continue with my impertinence.
Do so. It'll be a nice change from talking to myself.
Xander leads you into the drawing room, old furniture and low lighting. This is a big place. You don't have any help? Gesturing for you to sit down, Xander lowers themselves onto a chair, tentacles wrapping around into time-worn grooves into the stone.
Good help is hard to find, Detective. Besides, I don't need much to keep this little house of mine ticking along.
Little. This room is bigger than my whole office. I get lost trying to find the bathroom. But I don't come here to compare domestic arrangements.
No, of course. Poor Laura, rest his hide, said you wished to discuss a delicate matter.
Yeah, the characters are pretty cool. Like, I will say that. At first I was kind of like the art style kind of clashes, but it's like it doesn't anymore. It's kind of weird because it's like all the stuff is kind of like, it started off with like that, and then it's like as I'm getting used to the world and like just getting into it, it's actually kind of fun. It's actually kind of funny. It's grown on me as time has gone on. I must say that you don't seem particularly shaken by his loss.
After your first few centuries, you start to learn how fragile life is. None of us last forever. I will miss him, though. Would you at least do me the courtesy of telling me how he met his end?
I only learned about it an hour ago. He was found in the lake with a slit throat.
That was not so delicately put, Detective.
You didn't ask for delicate, Xander.
No, I didn't, did I? Lore was my friend for the last 100 years or so. I wish we could have met a nicer end.
We all wake up, taking the fall in the end, one way or the other.
Poetically put.
The police don't have any leads. No surprises there. Do you have any idea who could have done it?
Someone with a old grudge? Old ones know he made enough enemies in her life.
Coincidence, you should mention the old ones. You know, of course, he arranged this meeting.
The stone, yes. An object of immense value and importance, steeped in mystery, stained with the deaths of many.
And something you would quite like to get your tentacles on.
Oh, indeed, Detective. You have no idea how much I covet that idol. The monetary value alone makes it an object of true desire.
The intrigue it's cloaked in only makes me want it more. And if Laura's job, and it was Laura's job to get it for you? Xander puts out a ragged laugh. Not quite. Law was far from the diplomatic sort, and wouldn't have been able to obtain it himself. He was surprisingly good tracker, though, once he had the scent. I had given him the job of locating the idol and acquiring the services to get it to the city. Is where my case aligns with your quest. And what happened then? I wish I knew, Detective. I provided a significant sum of money to fund him. Next, he tells me that the artifact is gone, and along with the hired importer. If it weren't for the fact I've spent most of my considerable life trying to obtain the statue, I would have written it off as a loss. Maybe I'm just a victim of sunk cost fallacy, but I can't bear the thought of giving up the chase this late in the game. I gotta say, and this is where it's like this is decently written. Like, sunk cost fallacy that's the correct use of the concept, and it is a concept that not many people know about, and it's definitely one that a person who is affluent would understand. So, I'm guessing you'd be quite interested in getting your tentacles on the rock. More than you could possibly imagine, Detective. There are few things in life I desire as much as that idol. Then it's lucky for you that I'm on the case to find it. You were the professional that Lord hired for the job? I'm afraid it's more complicated than that. He fills Xander in on the case so far, leaving out the drugging in the hotel and the missing Maxoria. So, you would be what exactly? A subcontractor here to clean up the mess? Something like that. You want the rock? I want to get paid. Maxora wants to clear her name. And Lord died not too long after you took the case. That does look highly suspicious. Unfortunately, it doesn't look good for me, especially when the police turn up on my door. Don't tell him this. Especially when the police turn up on my doorstep with a bloodstained envelope with my name on it. Which is why it doesn't feel like this was just some random Kaiju side. In this job, you learn not to trust coincidences. You may have a point, Detective. Do you want to know the history has to say about that idol? I have a feeling you're going to tell me whether I say yes or no. Maxora said it had something about whatever gets the rock gets to rule, something like that. In effect, although the history is mostly oral and pictograms, enough of it has survived to tell the story. And in the final days of our kind, a stone of blood shall hold the key to our survival. Guard it well, and the power within shall lead us into the future. Do you believe it? And do I believe what? And do you believe? Oh, sorry, wrong character. And do you believe? And do you believe all that, Xander? A magic power stone waiting for someone to grab it? What I believe is immaterial, child. I have devoted a significant portion of my life to acquiring it, and that is all you need to know. In this world, if you have fought for something this long, you don't simply stop wanting it because it's a challenge. You want it more. So, the question is, who else knows? Maxora says the only kaiju she told was her contact, who was delivering the idol, and they mysteriously died too. Lore assured me that he only went through Maxora. Now he met her. I don't know. So that's another dead end. No pun intended. That was poor taste, Detective. That means that one of you three spilled their guts. If you're making these morbid puns intentionally, they are not appreciated. Sorry. So someone knew about the trade-off when the idol was to cross the gates. And they knew that Lore was the go-between for the three of you. Who else knows? One of you isn't telling me the whole story, and now I've got one less kaiju to interrogate.
What makes you sure it's not this Maxora giving you the runaround?
Because she's scared shitless right now. Pardon my language. She thought Laura was coming after her when the deal went south, and I don't blame her. So tell me, Xander, who else knows? Who wants the Crimson Old One and is prepared to kill for it? I don't like seeing folks ending up in a lake, even if they did have been polite to me. The room is silent, except for the crackling of the fire in the hearth.
This isn't the first time I've gone after the idol.
You've been after her for a long time, you said.
Correct. And in time I've dealt with some rather unscrupulous creatures. One who I thought I'd parted ways with many years ago.
One who might have wanted the statue as much as you.
Detective, let me be direct. No one wants the statue more than I. But yes, there are those who covet the prize too, be it out of greed or spite.
Did they know Laura was involved?
Probable. Laura was my friend. That was known to a few kaiju. Maybe my only friend. He was around for several of my attempts to retrieve the idol.
You tap your claws on the chair. Who's left, Xander? Out of all the bastards you've worked with before, which of them was still alive and would kill for that magic rock? Who wants it bad enough?
The hunched figure sits motionless in their chair, staring into the fireplace. Eventually they look up, their face contorted in frustration. Oni Kogo.
Who?
Oni Kogo. An old associate of mine. They were with me when I first went after the idol, back when I didn't have two rocks to rub together. She and I never quite saw eye to eye about the methods that were acceptable to get hold of the old one. As such, our relationship soured somewhat.
You mean she would have killed to get it?
At the very least, Detective. But didn't you... One more thing, hold on. Didn't you just say no one wanted this thing more than you did? It seems like you lied, because this lady sounds like she wants this thing more than you do, because she's willing to kill for it and you're not? Wait a minute. There's conflicting information here. Objection, objection, objection. Oni Kogo comes from a position of some great privilege. As such, she doesn't put much value on those she sees as inferior.
Unlike you. I mean, look at this place.
You gesture around the huge house with lavish furnishings. My current financial situation is not a point of debate here, Detective. Xander's voice drops into a drawl of the street, although from several centuries past. But I'll have you know, I clawed myself up from the gutter to get here. And while you're a guest in this house, you'd best not make assumptions. Straightened up, Xander returns to their calm demeanor.
My apologies. I'll let my tongue get the better of me sometimes. So this Oni Kogo, they still around?
Oh, undoubtedly. Money has a habit of keeping rotten fruit on the vine. I mean, just look around. Never. Now I'm being silly.
Do you know where I can find her? I may have to pay her a little social call.
I wouldn't advise that, Detective.
Why is that? Don't think I'd fit into high society?
Honestly, no. I also don't think it would be good for your health.
You think Oni Kogo would kill me for asking where the rock is?
Of course not. Oni Kogo isn't the type to get her hands dirty.
Okay, then why?
I think she would have someone else kill you. Quickly and quietly. In a way much like our departed colleague Lore.
What kind of character?
Most definitely. Onikoga wouldn't have touched anyone to do with this endeavor, but she has her claws curled tightly around many of the city's strings. If you decide to pursue this fool's errand, I won't stop you. I want that idol, and Onikogo most. I want that idol, and Onikogo most likely has it secreted in her hoard. But if she does have it, then you're highly unlikely to get your paws on it without great personal risk.
Risk begets reward. From what you and Maxora have told me, this is the kind of treasure you only find in stories. That has to make the risk worth the reward. And if there's something I like more than a lucrative case, it's one with a good story to go along with it.
You make for quite the adventurous mercenary, bold and foolish.
It wouldn't be a real treasure hunt without getting into a fight, getting to fight a monster along the way.
Xander stands as you follow suit. They extend a tentacle and you shake it. Then you're a braver monster than I. Whether you choose to go after the idol or not, please tell Maxor that she is no danger from me. I consider the debt moot, considering the circumstances. They reach down in a small box by the chair, flip through the cards inside, and pull out a rather old and ornately decorated card. Onikogo's address. If they are within the city limits, this is where she will be, along with my personal seal. You take the card and slip it into your pocket. Gold leaf flakes under your claws.
Thank you for your time, Xander. I appreciate you meeting me under these circumstances, and I'm sorry about what happened to your friend. If you hear from me again, I'll be returning my cut of the sale.
And if I don't hear from you,
then throw a flower into the lake for me, because that's probably where I'll be sleeping.
Morbid. You'd make a good writer.
Maybe. It might be the only way I could get us a happy ending.
Chapter 5. I think this is the last chapter. So, when you open the door to your office the next night, Alex is sitting at the desk, grinning excitedly.
You look proud of yourself. What has you so excited?
He puts his hands on the arms of the chair and swivels.
A swivel chair? Where under Zilla's glowing balls did you get the hold of a swivel chair that could hold your scaly arse?
It's the newest thing. Something about old human industrial equipment. I think this thing started life as a crane for shipping containers. Oh, that's pretty clever. Ha! It is kind of like got it's like got the like the cross hatches and like that's cool. You stand there stunned in silence as you watch Alex swivel to a full 360 degrees. The chairs are groaning mechanically.
This must be the greatest technological achievement ever. You deserve nothing less.
That's gotta also be a thing. Like how expensive is it to live in the kaiju world compared to the human world? Because like you have like to make a simple chair for a kaiju, like you're talking like a building sized like seating instrument. So it's like, oh yeah, chairs are expensive. Oh no, chairs are expensive. Thanks, Kari. I'll never ask for anything ever again.
Cost that much, did it?
It swivels, Kari. It fucking swivels. You can't help but laugh at Alex's amusement. It had been too long since you saw him so happy.
When you're done swiveling, I've got some good news about the case. I've got news about the case.
Good news or bad news?
That depends on how much you like having me around.
You tell Alex about meeting with Xander. His grin fades to a smile and then to a frown.
And that's the whole thing. Maxora is off the hook. We're a knob who probably has the rock and isn't afraid to knock off anyone who gets in the way. Even better, what do they use for money? That's a good question. Large billboards. Yeah, like stolen billboard signs. As well as an old street monster who is happy to pay a bundle of rock if we manage to get our paws on it. And you're going anyway, aren't you? Of course I am. I've been paid to get this damn statue, so that's where I'm gonna go get it. You've known me for how long, Alex? How many times have I quit halfway through a job? Alex starts conning his claws. That divorce case last year. Conflict of interest. The lost pet case 6 months ago. You know I'm allergic to those things. My ears kept coming out coming out in a rash. That thing you and Carazola never talked about. We don't talk about that. One time you held that cramp that just wouldn't go away, so you told me to. Okay, damn, you're persistent. That's why you hired me. Want the truth? I'm tired of not being able to pay you. I'm tired of being able to barely cover costs of the rent of this place and putting food on the table. If this case comes to term, we have that. We never have to worry about money again. Imagine being able to pick cases we want to follow, not because we had to. We have the money Maxora gave us. That should cover us for a few weeks. And then what? Hope we get another lost lizard dog before the Rapo squad takes up your chair? It's just a chair. We'll survive, Carly. We always do. I don't want us to just survive. You deserve more than that. We both do. So this isn't about you having a thing for Maxora. You start counting on your own claws. First, she drugged me. Second, I'm not really attracted to anyone these days. Third, she drugged me. And fourth, I don't date clients. You dated Carolazoa. She wasn't my client at the time. She also wasn't trying to drug me. She did dangle me out of a third-story window, but that was entirely consensual. Now I'm just picturing a kaiju being dangled out a third-story window. What is this world? Alex laughs. Whatever you say, boss. There's nothing I can do to call you off of this one, is there? Not this time. Gotta see it through and make sure and hope I make it to the end credits. Well, if you die, we'll see an end credits anyway. But anyway, no, that's not the line. You're the densest kaiju I know. But I have your back on this matter, no matter what. We're partners. Yeah, somebody had an adverse reaction to being drugged. Who would have thought? Appreciated, but hopefully unnecessary. Before you throw yourself into Leviathan's den, I wanted to talk to you about something. How is Leviathan, anyway? They never call anymore. Alex dangles the pendant from a claw. I think I remember where I saw this before. You did? Well, don't keep me hanging. Would be nice to close off that case so we don't have anything looming over us too. I can't say yet, not until I'm sure. My memory's good, but it was only a glimpse. So what do you want? What do we do about it? It's not exactly subtle to ask someone if they happen to have a nice long-lost brother and they would like to meet them. And even when we do know, for sure it's something we have to be careful of handling. We both know how rough that sort of revelation can be. I'll let you know when I'm certain. Alex puts the sketch back on the desk. You'll sort it out, Kari. If anyone can find the wrong way to do this, it's you. You're always so reassuring, Alex. I don't know what I'd do without you. He shrugs and starts swiveling again. You'd probably be dead.
Thanks for the chair. It really means a lot to me. Do you want to see me spin again? Onikogo's residence turns out to be a nice long walk from the office, through the ancient twisting streets of New Monstropolis. The address Xander directed you to is the Behemoth's Arms, within the internal ring of old stone mansions and offices that serve to house the aristocracy and political heart of the city. And until someone invents a car that can fit your average kaiju, it gives you a long time to think as you trudge through the strata of the city towards the glow of Zilla's balls. Dot dot dot. Which ellipses? We'll go for a second. I'm chasing after a shiny rock to clear the name of a dame. Out of what? Some sort of justice? There's no justice in this city. This really isn't where I saw myself when I started this gig. They were just human films. They lie. I swear if this idol turns out to be made of lead, I quit. What the hell am I doing out here alone? Maybe I should have brought Alex along for as a backup. If I make it out of this alive, I'm taking a long holiday. Get out of the city for a few weeks. I hear the magma lakes are beautiful this time of year. What the fuck am I doing? I'm going to get myself killed. That's if this Onikogo even decides to see me. You arrive at the address on the Xander's card and look up at the bulk of the Behemoth's Arms, the first apartment building in the city and by far the most gaudy. Showing the calling card to the stoic door monster gives you a curt nod and directions to the penthouse suite. The building is affluent enough to even have a kaiju-sized elevator, pulled no doubt by some underpaid slob on a treadmill. You can hear the chains rattle as the elevator rises ponderously to the top floor. These knobs sure know how to live. With a thud, the lift settles to a stop. A short hallway adorned with intricate carvings leads to a double door that probably costs more than everything you owned combined. With an only slightly shaking claw, you lift the door knocker and bring it down with a sharp brass plate 3 times. Food, food, food. The sound bounces off the walls like echoes in a long-forgotten cave. Ominous. As the echo dies away, the door creaks open, and a creature that could only be the butler looks down on you with utter contempt. Whatever you're selling, we don't want any. Madam is not at home to traveling preachers, nor does she wish to adopt any orphans. Good evening. They attempt to slam the door in a very butlerly way, but you slide your foot in to block them. I'm not here to sell or preach, but I do have business with Madame Oniko. Go. Please, tell her I'm a friend of an old friend. You dangle the name card in front of the butler's face until they snatch it away. Kicks your foot away and slams the door. Charming, these rich folk. Several minutes pass before the butler opens the door again and beckons you in with a disgruntled wave. Butler probably killed him. Issuing you into the well-lit and richly decorated sitting room, they indicate an ornately carved bench and abandon you to the glit and splendor. The view over the city is incredible. It's what you're into, if that's what you're into. From here, it's just shades of gray vanishing into the distance. Oh, Alex, what have I gotten myself into this time? Despite the room's primary aesthetic being something akin to a wealthy dragon's parlor, it lacks the crimson glint of a giant ruby statue. So much for the hope that things would be easy. When you get to my age, detective, you'll learn that few things are truly easy. Turning your face, the figure in the doorway,
You manage to avoid knocking over a priceless vase with your tail by a matter of inches. She stands in the doorway, tall for a city kaiju, her wingtips and horns nearly scraping the high ceiling. Would I be right in guessing that you're Madame Onikogo?
With observation skills like that, you must be a detective.
Oh, that's too high. I need to think, like, you gotta, like, it's gotta be pompous, but like not like Queen of England pompous. It's gotta, like, I'm trying to think of a good voice to give this person. Like I was thinking of like doing Queen of England, but I don't look very Queen of England. But I already gave in like sort of like a somewhat high class thing to Max already. So she's a Titan. Everyone has to do something for a living. Most of us, anyway. We aren't all lucky enough to be born into wealth. She scowls, massive teeth laid to bare.
Impertinent, too, I see. My butler said you're an acquaintance of Xandron. How is that, old trilobite?
They're fine. They send their warmest regards.
I doubt they sent anything of the sort.
Do you mind if I take a seat? It's a rather long walk from my office.
By all means. Sit wherever you please. Just please refrain from breaking anything.
You settle on a bench, placed conveniently distanced from anything fragile.
So, you know my name, and I don't know yours. Nor do I know why you're here. You will do me the service of amending this imbalance.
Detective Carrie Barra. I've been advised that you might be able to assist me in a case I'm working on.
We don't get a lot of cats caught up in trees or adulterous partners here, Detective. So I don't know what I could do to help you with.
That remains to be seen. How well do you know Xander? She sits across from you in an ornate chair that seems carved specifically for her size, wings tucked neatly behind her. From a side table, she raises a crystal goblet and takes a sip.
Can I offer you a drink, Detective?
No, thank you. I'm a bit hesitant to accept drinks lately.
As you wish. I've known Xander ever since they were a youth. Poor thing was living in the gutters, so I gave them a little work here and there. I must say, they have elevated themselves admirably. Born to a terrible brood, but far from worthless.
And when was the last time you talked? Sipping slowly, Onikogo swirls her cup and looks down at you in judgment.
Many years ago. Perhaps a century or more. We'd had rather the falling out over some trifling matter. I felt it proper that we maintain some distance.
Did it have anything to do with the idol? She stiffens at the mention of the word.
Which idol would that be, Detective? I'm rather a collector of fine art. My family owns the largest museum in the city, and have several thousand idols, statues, and carvings. It's so hard to keep track of any one piece.
Of course. Must be difficult to keep up with when you own so much while others have so little. A real emotional strain, I'm sure. You could see the corner of her mouth twitch to snarl just for a moment. The idol I'm speaking of would be something you'd remember, though. Even for one so endowed as yourself.
Oh, you intrigue me, Detective. Please, describe this item that you believe so strongly that I would remember.
Big, red, kaiju shaped. Probably have some kind of prophecy taped to it. Would have been a recent acquisition. Onikogo wraps her talons across the arm of the chair.
I may know of such an artifact, although, of course, my artistic acquisitions are not a public matter.
Of course they aren't. Perish the thought.
What business would be of yours, then? I wouldn't think such a thing would be of interest to a street sleuth. Are you an art collector too, detective?
Time to make something up or lay your cards on the table. I guess I'm gonna lay him on the table. Kari's not good of a bluffer anyway. Not so much. My partner collects industrial equipment. I'm too clumsy to handle the delicate stuff.
Is that so?
Unfortunately, can't seem to stop myself from stumbling across things I shouldn't. I tend to make a bit of a mess. Oh, someone said make something up.
If you'd stumbled across my threshold in order to make such a mess, you'd best stumble your way back out again.
Don't you worry. The only stumbling I intend to do is on course to find a rather large ruby statue of the antique variety.
I thought you weren't a collector, detective.
I'm not, but I've got a case that has me searching for such an artifact. I know that it entered the city some time ago via a courier who shall remain deceased.
A tragedy, I'm sure.
No doubt it was for them. This is a rough city, especially for those without the right connections. This ruby has a rather hefty price tag attached. One Majeti Kaiju would kill for, as I'm sure it has been for over a millennia.
Shiny stones do often attract the most aggressive manner of attention. That's hard to dispute.
So, now we have a priceless giant ruby somewhere in the city, a retainer in my pocket to locate it, and several kaiju bodies lying in its wake.
Why would you come to me, detective?
Because our mutual acquaintance tells me you're one of the few kaiju who also knows the story and has the means to write the next chapter.
And your part in this narrative?
I am a simple bit player in this, Sonikogo. A useful MacGuffin to drive the plot to a satisfactory conclusion.
Remember when I spoke about not wasting my time?
Am I doing it now?
You are. You speak like you've seen too many human films.
That's a nice theater down on Splinter Street that plays the classics every weekend.
That explains much about you, detective. Now, how about you tell me what you want before I lose my patience?
Where's the Crimson Old One?
You seem awful sure I possess it.
Let's call it a professional hunch.
I think you'll need much more than a hunch, detective. In my world, we take things a little more seriously than you kaiju down on the street. So before you open your jaw again, I would advise you to think about your next words very carefully.
She flicks the edge of her glass with a claw, the perfect crystal ringing echoes around the room. Do you have the statue?
Do you have a credible reason to assume that I do?
Will you actually answer any of my questions?
Will you ask any that I want to answer?
Do you always answer questions with questions?
Do you intend to keep asking them indefinitely?
The pair of you stare at each other for a long moment. She starts to laugh.
Oh, detective, you should see your face right now. What do you take me for, some kind of tyrannical hoarder? Stealing the treasures of the world to fill my cave?
That's usually how museums are filled.
A valid observation. Possession is everything. What I have, I own because I've decided I want it. But I do have I do not have Xander's precious stone. After all of these centuries, I don't even know if it truly exists. or was just one of their fanciful dreams. If I were you, detective, I would leave this fool's errand behind you and move on with something I have no doubt is an interesting life you live. Or else you might find that life is a bit far shorter and more interesting than you'd expect.
Is that your final answer?
It is.
Then I best take my leave. I have a job to do on Ikogo, one I intend to do to the best of my ability. And I'm not going to stop digging as long as I'm on that job.
Dig too long, detective, and you may find yourself digging your own grave.
Should I take that as a threat?
Kogo stands, wings rippling around her. Take it however you wish, but I recommend you dig elsewhere. The ground in these parts are treacherous. My butler will show you out.
A pleasure, Ikogo. Good luck with the horde.
I'd wish you luck, detective, but I don't see much point.
So if anyone has played this before, does this go on for enough for a thing? I don't know how many chapters this thing has. Or maybe this is like it, because like I'm about to die. I don't know. Hey, look, there's Monster Mash. That's the pictures of the things. Given there's gunshots in the song, I think this is where I die. Your footsteps echo heavy on the alleyway, leading from the heart of the city back to the working neighborhoods of the outer rings. The rumble of the street, rutted by 10,000 years of giant beasts. Your talons kick up blooms of dust as you pass. Detritus of ages. In areas like this, the shadow from the taller, richer buildings cover the poor districts in a blanket of gloom. A fitting buffer of silence to keep the scum at bay. It's places like this that the worst crimes happen, in the lawless region between the honest poor and the corrupt rich. Under one of the few dim street lamps between you and the other end of the alley leans a heavy-set figure, attempting to look inconspicuous and failing. They wait with menacing purpose. As you approach, trying to keep a ready distance between you, they raise their head and gesture out with an open paw. Hey, buddy, you got a light? How original. Really? Got a light? Couldn't think of anything more original. Don't mess with the classics. But it does pay to mess with you. Two giant paws clasp together and knuckles crack loudly. On Ikogo's higher scales. Funny. I expected you to be taller. A grin with many missing teeth leers down at you. What's funny is no one's ever paid to have you shut up before now. You're wrong there, but you may win the prize for the ugliest goon paid to beat me up. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this. Try not to miss. You look like you couldn't hit the side of a skyscraper with those claws. In the past, you'd survived a total of 7 barroom fights, many against foes much larger than this creature. The secret is to hit low and run like hell. From behind, you hear the sound of claws sliding against each other. Uh-oh. Fuck. The pain of the claw swipes through your shoulder is more intense than you could have imagined. Being beat up is one thing. You've been through that before, too. Being slashed is excruciating. This must be how Lore went out. The thug in front of you lands a punch to your gut, and you go down hard, trying to shield your stomach and shoulders with one good arm. Thick blood runs through your fingers. Ikogo said to tell you, try harder next lifetime. Good sense of humor, huh? Any response you try to give comes through as a hiss from between clenched teeth. As you await the killing swipe from the claw to turn your lights out forever, you hear the lamp above you explode, plunging the alley into darkness. What the fuck? A series of wet thumps and cut-off screams follow. The last thing you want to do is look up to see what's happening. For a full minute, the alley is in silence. The entire district seems to be holding its breath. A hand reaches down, grasps you by the good arm, and raises you to your feet. Haven't done that in a while. Nice to know I've still got it in me. In the pitch blackness, you hear a scrabbling and the sound of a match being struck against a wall. A burst of light in the darkness is almost blinding. Sorry I'm late. I don't walk as fast as I used to. Alex? Alex, I mean that in the nicest way possible. What the actual fuck? He holds the match up close to his arms, examining the blood covering the claws and wrists. I was following you. Thought that part was obvious. Good. None of this ick seems to be mine. Oh, okay. I thought someone mentioned last time that this was actually shorter. If that is, I should stop we're on chapter 6 right now, so I'll stop at the end of this chapter. $1.5 probably less. Yeah, that's enough for another stream, though. I probably should have stopped at the start of this chapter, not at the end of it. I was following you. Thought that much was obvious. Good, none of this ick seems to be mine. You go after one of the most well-known knobs in the city. One who we know has killed before, and you expect me to stay in the office playing with my chair. Kara would have my head if she knew you had gone, if I'd left you off alone. The match burns out and he strikes another. Begins to lead you out of the alley back towards the office. I really need to wash my hands. I hate the feeling of thug on my scales. You scare me sometimes, Alex, but I've never been gladder to see you working with me. So does that mean I have my name painted on the door too? No, I like you too much. Every movie I've seen where there are two PIs working in one office, they're scraping by one of their names off the door within the first 15 minutes. And you're afraid I'll get knocked off. That's sweet. Hell no, I'm afraid I'd get knocked off. You're the one who saved me from ending up in the lake. At least we know one thing. That Ondikogo wants you dead. Ha, besides that. No, we know that she has the idol for sure. Otherwise she wouldn't have bothered sending her muscle after me. And that's supposed to be reassuring. That means that we have to figure out how to get it from her. Is this a heist movie all of a sudden? Sure, why not? But let's save the planning montage until we're back in the office and I stop leaking all over the city. The gulp would be closer. Fine, get me there. Hopefully Wax doesn't get pissed off when I bleed on his floor. We're in a big fucking mess here, Kari. Yeah, that's true. That's fair. Like, I did stop for like probably 20 minutes of commentary or so. We're in a big fucking mess here, Kari. You're telling me they tore my fucking coat. You really are a special kind of monster, detective. Alright, there we go. Alright. So we're gonna save chapter 7. So yeah, we're about halfway there. If there's 13 chapters. So that's a good place to stop for now. It was very fun. There's some. To be fair, like about probably 75% of the time I stopped and said, "Oh, there's a grammatical error." It's like, not really. Like, maybe like one misspelling and like maybe 2 grammatical errors. I think of the 5 things I kind of stumbled on. Some of it I think is like localization of like Australian English versus, quote unquote American English, quote unquote Australian English. I do like it. It's like I was kind of worried getting into it, like that's like, oh, the music's like but I think some of it works. Like this one's not bad. Like the chapter music, transition music isn't bad. Like I don't know if they're going for like monster like stomping on a piano sometimes. Like it's very like uncleaned and unpolished music, but I think sometimes it does work. Other times, one or twice it might be a little jarring, but like it's not unbearable. Yeah, worst case is next stream is a bit short. And if the last like several chapters are short, maybe like because that was chapter 6. I think chapter 6 took us like 10 minutes, even with like me talking and stuff. But yeah, worst comes to worst, it's a short episode. Alright, anyways, thank you guys very much for watching tonight. We'll see you next time for more Kaiju. One more Kaiju. Do, 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 do.